All right, class. Happy Friday. And just so you know, I am here for you. So, today you are working solely on finding slope. Now, if we know slope, there are two formulas to find it. You can look over there on the side wall. But today, the first worksheet you're working on, you have to do all the problems that deal with the graphing. Now, with this graphing exercise, if we ever want to deal with our slope, when we find our slope, n equals our rise over our run. So we must first find our rise and our run. Now, just a little helpful hint for you guys. When you do this, you want to start at your left point and go to your right point. The reason why, it will always move you in a positive direction with your run. So that way you only have to look at the negatives of your rise. So let's go ahead and get to look at our point. We start at my leftmost point, and I notice from here to here, I must go up. And how much did I go up? I went up 1. So if I were to ask you what the rise was in this case, your rise is 1. From there, we have to look at our next situation, which is our run, which is how far we've moved left or right. So we're moving from our left point to our right point, and I've moved it twice, so my run is 2. And remember, we just have to take my rise, put it over my run. So I know my slope, which is m, remember it's always m, is 1 over 2. And you are done. Now, I just want to also give a little helpful reminders for you guys. If you ever see a slope looking like this, you should know that it is what? I hope you guys all scream negative, right? Next one, a horizontal line. If you ever deal with a horizontal line, our slope is 0. And if you ever deal with a vertical line, oh nice, our new smartboard doesn't want to work either. It is undefined. Great, we'll figure this out eventually. So that's our first time. If we ever have to deal with a point, we have to use our rise over our run. Okay, moving on, our next slide. They give you 2 points. Now, if we were to give you guys 2 points, it's kind of difficult to find out your rise and run. But we could technically find out our rise and run, but to do that, we need to figure out like our distance between them. Now, if we ever deal with distance, remember it's usually dealing with subtraction. Well, that's the one formula over there that's already set up for you. To find our slope in this situation, m, we must take y2 minus our y1. And then that's all divided by our x2 minus our x1. So I have y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So we need to go ahead and go over here and label our points. Notice this is an x value because it goes x, then y, is my x value of my first point. The next one, this is my y value of my first point. So I labeled x1, y1. Well, then my next one is my x value, so it's x2 and y2. Now we can go ahead and plug these into our whole formula. Now when we plug them into our formula, remember plugging in or substituting, we must always use parentheses. So the whole time we're going to use parentheses minus parentheses over parentheses minus parentheses. And I can plug things in. So my y2 was negative 15 minus my y1, which is negative 16. From there, it's all being divided by x2, which is negative 7, minus my x1, which is 19. Now, I don't have my calculator handy, but you guys do. When you have this situation, you must press Control, the blue button, and then divide. And it will set up this fraction for you. Type this whole thing in there, okay? Don't leave it up to you, maybe doing a little mental mistake, it's going to hurt you. Your calculator will never do anything wrong if you plug in your parentheses here. So when you use your calculator, you'll notice you get a final answer. And it'll say negative 1 over 26. And guess what? My slope now is negative 1 over 26. So m equals -1/26. So, to conclude this, remember, if you're ever dealing with a graph, look at your rise and your run. But if you're ever dealing with 2 points, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. You guys have a great weekend. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday.